Okay, so we have our 3 sets of truth table facts for the negation, the conjunction, and the disjunction. So now we have 2 more to talk about. And so the first one that we're going to deal with is the conditional. Honestly, the conditional, I think, is the one that it tends to be the hardest at first. And then once you see the pattern, it'll be okay. So again, I'm going to do my trues and falses. Same thing as before. None of this is different. Who remembers what tells me I have a conditional statement? What are the words involved? If then, right? So I'm going to make an if then statement. And we're going to see how this goes, and we're going to try to see if we can figure out how a conditional statement works. So, for instance, something that seems apropos, I'm going to say if you score above 90, then you get an A. Okay, that seems reasonable. That's kind of, I think, what you're assuming as you're taking this class. And remember, I told you that the parts of the conditional statement, that this first part, the first statement, this is called the condition. What the condition does is it tells you under what situation this statement has application. Okay, so this statement has application to anybody who scores above 90. And then over here, oh, that should be the word then, not just the word the. Sorry about that, can't spell. So what comes after the then, this is the consequence. This tells you what should happen to anybody who scores above 90. Now this is going to be relevant to us in a minute. If you score an 85, does this statement apply to you? Okay, that's gonna matter to us in a minute. That's gonna be probably the part of this that's gonna take a second to sink in. Okay, so it's just a matter of working with this. So here we go. I'm just gonna go row by row. So this tells me that P is true. Okay, so I scored above a 90, right? Then Q is true. So on your report card or on your test, you got an A. Did what was supposed to happen happen? Yes, you scored above 90, you got an A. That's true. What was supposed to happen did indeed happen. Next, this one says P is true. You scored above a 90. True. On your test, for some reason, the Perkster wrote a B. Did what was supposed to happen happen? No, because you scored above a 90, you met the condition, but you did not get the appropriate consequence. That's not what's supposed to happen. That's false. Okay. I think those 2 are pretty straightforward. Are we good so far? Okay. The next two are related. Okay, the next 2, it actually does not matter what the value of Q is. So here we go. P is false. So that means you didn't score above 90. You got an 80. Okay, as I just asked you, repeating the question, if you get an 80, okay, let's just pretend you got an 80. Does this statement apply to you? No. So because of that, okay, because this statement doesn't apply, the condition was not met, logically, the outcome is true. I know, I get it. It's wacky. Okay, it's true. It's true because since the statement doesn't apply, it has done what it's supposed to do. So since you didn't meet the condition, it doesn't matter if you got an A on your test or a B on your test, this statement does not determine that. And so because of that, because it doesn't tell you anything, it's done what it's supposed to do, it's true. Those are the ones that you got to get used to. With a conditional statement, if it starts with an F, it's automatically true. Does not matter. Notice it didn't even matter. These ones don't, I didn't even approach that subject.
Why is this automatically true?
Great question. This is the hard part of this section. It's automatically true because notice in the first two situations, you met the condition. Let's say you got a 95. Here, you got a 95, you met the condition, you got an A. This statement did exactly what it was supposed to do. You got what you were promised. Here, you got the 95. You did not get an A. Okay, you did not get what was promised. That's why that one's false. I think those two, very clear to see. The next two that start with a false, you got an 80. Does this statement promise you anything when you get an 80? No, I'm sure there's another statement somewhere else in the universe that tells you what to do, but not this one. Because of that, because this statement does not apply, logically, it's done what it's supposed to do, and that's why those are true. Okay, the condition was not met. You have no claim to any consequence according to this statement. That's why those are true. So at first, I understand this is a little strange. So at first, you're probably just going to have to remember that when the condition is false, your statement is going to be true. Okay, so this tends to be the one that you're going to have to put a little more effort into remembering. The other ones make sense. I think the first two rows of this make perfect sense. It's logically these two, I get it. It's a little bit to wrap your mind around. This is the conditional statement. Let me just make this other statement before we do our problem. The conditional statement is the only one of the 5 connectives that order matters. Because notice, if I have true and then false, that's different than false then true. The order matters. So we have to be real careful on that. And I'm going to demonstrate that in my example. Or actually, I've given you an exercise. I'm gonna work through this first exercise with you. Okay. Anybody got a question? Okay, so exercise 1. I'm going to fill in my trues and falses. Okay, well, I need a column for what first? Squiggly Q. Yeah, this is just like we were doing before. I need a squiggly Q column. So Q is true, so squiggly Q is false. False, it turns to true. True, it turns to false. And false, it turns to true. Perfect, great job. Now this says I'm starting with squiggly Q, I'm moving toward P. That's the direction, the arrow. So again, I've told you this, I am a mess. I will mess that up if left to my own devices. So what I'm going to do is right above the rows, I'm going to put an arrow that tells me which direction I'm going. So I'm going from here to here. All right, so refer to the basic truth table facts if you have to. So here we go. The first row says I start with false, then true. What is that? What's the truth value when I start with false? It's true. That's the one you have to get used to. The next row is true, then true. You met the condition, you got the consequence. What's that? True. The next one starts with a false. Automatically, you know at that point what? True. It's true. And then the last one, you met the condition, it's true, but you didn't get the consequence. That one is what? False. Okay, excellent. All right, so I think probably for us, I'm going to have you do one more problem, and then we will save the rest of this section for next time. So example 1, I'd like you to fill in the 8 options and give it your best shot. Okay, I know that this is difficult, and we're all learning. It's identical. The squiggly Q and R. In fact, since it's in parentheses, you're going to start there. And then after you've done with that, if you haven't gotten there yet, or if you're already there, then you're going to draw your arrow because you're going from the P column to that result. And those are the two you're linking together with the conjunction, or yeah, with the conditional, with the arrow. Just for time's sake, I'm going to get started. If you're still working, these are hard problems. I totally understand. We're going to come back. We're going to do some more next time. So if you would do me this favor, the only thing I would ask you to do is put a little effort into remembering the basic truth table at the top. If you want to do exercise 2 as part of your homework, that's where we're going to start next time. Okay, so here we go. Just like was mentioned to me, I am going to do squiggly Q. So squiggly Q says change the truth value of the Q column. So we've got 2 F's, 2 T's, 2 F's, 2 T's. Then I'm doing and R. So this is exactly what we were doing in the previous section, no difference. The conjunction is true. My and statement is true when? Both. Yeah, both are true. So here are my 2 columns. I'm going to put a cute little check mark right above them. So I've got true and false, that's false. I've got false and false, that's false. True and true, false and true, true and false, false and false, true and true. There we go. There's another true one and then a false. Last thing now I'm going to do is I'm going to take column P, which I've done absolutely nothing to, and I'm going to go then squiggly Q and R. So I'm starting here and I'm moving in this direction right here. Remember, order is important for your conditional statement. So I'm starting with the P column. I'm ending with this other. Both these columns are on the outside. So the first one starts off true, then false. What's true, then false? That's the false one. In fact, a nice way to remember that truth table is that's the only time the conditional statement's false. When you have T, then F, it's false. All the other ones are true. The next one is T, then F. So that one is? That's false as well. The third one is T, then T. So that is indeed. The next one, the fourth one, is T, then F. That's false. The last 4 all start with an F. And we know when it starts with an F, what's the outcome automatically? There you go. Excellent work. You're doing great. I'm going to stop this video and we'll pick up here with the next one.